Here's a story. Once there was a woman, this is the days of the Tzemach Tzedek, and her husband left her. He left her with a small son, and she didn't know what to do. She was a simple lady, and she had to bring up the son, and she had to have money in order to bring up the son. And not only that, she wanted to know where her husband was, either to give her a divorce bill, or maybe he wasn't alive, so that she could start off a new life with her or without her husband. And the law in Judaism is that once a woman gets married, then she can never get married again until her husband either divorces her or her husband dies, passes away. One of two ways. There was once a man that came to the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe that he beat his wife, but he refused to divorce her. And the previous Rebbe said, there's two ways that a woman can be free to marry. Either receives a divorce bill from her husband, or her husband dies. Which one do you want? The Rebbe said. I think the man became very afraid, and he wrote a bill of divorce to his wife. I think that's the end of the story. Or the man died, I don't know. But in any case, it was a happy ending. The woman was able to get married again. And she stopped getting beaten. So here's the case, though. This woman did not find her husband. So they went to the Tzemach Tzedek, and the Tzemach Tzedek put his head down. He said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. He said, you know where he is? I don't know. I can't help you. So she came with her brother. Her brother brought her to the Tzemach Tzedek. And the brother said, listen, you sure you can't help? I'm sorry, I can't help. What can I do? I'm not God. I can't help. So the brother said, I heard you help. People said, that's true. There's some women that I can't help, but I can't help her. So the brother says, listen, as long as I'm here, can I ask a question for myself? So he said, yes. The Tzemach Tzedek said, yes. He said, I've been dreaming to go to Israel. I want to go to Israel and set up business over there. I know that the situation is very difficult over there. It's very rough, but that's what I want to do. I want to go to Israel. So what do you think? So the Tzemach Tzedek said, it's a good idea. And I think you should take your sister with you also, and her son, and everything will be okay. So he said, oh, that's a good idea. What am I going to do? I'm going to leave my sister here. I'll take her with me. Genius idea. I'll take her with me. And so she won't be married, at least she'll have, I'll take care of her. I'll maybe find her a job or something. So they packed their bags and they bought tickets, and they drove down to the I don't think you could buy tickets early. They drove down to Odessa, to the big shipyard over there. There was a big port, and they bought tickets. But the problem was that the woman did not have a passport or traveling papers for her son. She had passport. She had for herself. She just overlooked it. She didn't think. So what to do? So her brother said, listen, I know there's another port at the city of Yas, and it's a smaller port, and there they won't demand from you. I know the place. They won't demand from you traveling papers. Anybody who wants to just gets on the boat. And you come into Israel also. They won't demand entrance papers. Then those days they didn't care where you came from. So go over to Yas and travel over there. It's like a half a day journey. I'll get you a carriage. I'll pay the carriage. You'll go there and you buy tickets. And she said, no, I don't want to. I'm afraid to go alone. I don't please it. So he said, but we already have tickets for the year. Okay, so he said, all right. So either he got his money back or he had to forfeit some money. In any case, so they went to the city of Yas. It was like a travel. It was a one-day travel. One-day trip. So they're traveling there an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And while they're traveling along, they bought a carriage that her brother is driving. He's driving the carriage, they're driving, and they knock into this other carriage. And the way he fell asleep for a second, anyway, knocked into another carriage. So he got out to see if there was any damage done to this other carriage. The other carriage was a carriage from the mail. Right, they bought mail. This was a mail carriage that would go. So all of a sudden, someone comes out from the bar. It was parked in front of a bar somewhere, yelling and screaming with a big pole, and said, "I'll kill you!" All that yelling. He started screaming. So the brother just jumped into his carriage, and he drove off. He drove off. He was afraid. He didn't know what to do. So he drove off. He drove as fast as he could. And they came to another place, like an inn. And they parked this. It was before evening. They couldn't travel the whole entire day. It was like only in those days, you could only travel in the daytime. So he stopped off at this inn. They came in and he was all huffing and puffing, all nervous. The owner of the inn was a Jew. He said, "What's wrong? What happened to you?" He said, hello, can we stay here the night? Yes. So what's wrong? He said, "Oh, we bumped into this mail carriage and the owner came out and he said, oh, that's, Stefan, whatever it is, the mailman, he's a terror. He is an awful person. He is just boy, you're lucky you ran away from him because he is just a murderer. Wow, he's awful." So all of a sudden, the mail guy bursts into the room with this big pole. He says, "What is the guy who bumped into my wagon? I'll look." All of a sudden, he looks and he sees the man's sister sitting there with the son, and he says, "Rachel, what are you doing here?" And she looks at him, and she says, "You, it's Shlomo." He says, "I'm not Shlomo, I'm Stefan." And all of a sudden, he starts pacing back and forth. He throws his pole down to the ground, and he said, "Listen, I made a big mistake. I'm never going to come back, but I shouldn't have just left you alone like that. I shouldn't have left you alone. I know now that you can't get married. You never did anything bad to me. I don't know why I did it. I made a big mistake." And the owner, meanwhile, he's talking to the brother. He says, "That's her husband that left her. That's why we're here." The husband immediately says, "Keep him here." He runs, he gets the rabbi. The rabbi, and he tells the rabbi comes along with a scribe. They write a bill of divorce. He signs it. The rabbi signs it. Gives it to the husband. The husband gives that to his wife. Now they're officially divorced. Then he sticks his hand in his pocket, the husband, and he takes out a big wad of money, and he gives it to the boy. He says, "This is my son." He said, "Make sure that he gets a good education, a good Jewish education." He runs away. All of a sudden, they realized that Tzemach Tzedek did arrange this whole thing, but he arranged it in such a way that it came from them. So it was a big miracle that that Tzemach said, and who knows what happened to the husband? Maybe he changed his ways. That doesn't say in the story, but at least he was het mater and aguna. He found a way that he found a match for this divorced wife. Have a good day with Mashiach now. I'll see you all, God willing, on Sunday, 8:15. Shalom uvracha.
Did you do Shabbos Yom Yom?
Yes, I did.
You did? Oh,
I did. I did 2 days. I did today's.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Right, and the Shabbos was that the soul is waiting up in heaven for thousands of years to come down to the world, and now here we are in the world. Right, we can give God pleasure. So what are we waiting for? That's the Yom Yom.
Okay.